That's the first thing you need to hear today. Not as a suggestion, but as a wake-up call. You've been living in neutral, and you know it. You're not giving your best, and somewhere deep down, you feel that uneasiness in your gut. That inner voice is trying to scream at you, trying to push you forward. Well, you've been pressing mute on it for too long. You've been making excuses, telling yourself you got time, that things will change eventually, that the conditions have to be perfect before you go all in. But let's be real. Nothing changes until you change. You have to stop settling and demand more from yourself. Settling is silent. It doesn't announce itself. It creeps in slowly like a fog, disguising itself as a rest or a patience or a self-care. But what it really is, most of the time, is fear wearing a mask. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear that if you give your all and still fall short, you'll prove the doubters right. But here's the truth. Settling is worse than failing, because when you fail, at least you gave it your best shot. When you settle, you rob yourself of the opportunity to know what could have been. You were not born to be average. You were not born to be average. You were not created to just get by. There's nothing noble about staying small. You've got dreams, goals, and gifts inside you, but they're trapped under layers of hesitation and comfort. Every day that you live below your potential, you reinforce a story that you can't do more, can't be more, can't rise above where you are. And that's a lie. You can't keep feeding yourself that story and expect your life to change. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to step into that unknown territory where growth happens. That's where leveling up begins. Not when everything is easy, but when you decide that easy isn't good enough anymore. Look around you. Look at your habits. Are you really pushing yourself, or are you checking boxes? Are you doing just enough to not fail, or are you doing everything it takes to win? Some of you are showing up with 60% effort and wondering why you're not getting 100% results. It doesn't work that way. Excellence demands everything: commitment, energy, focus, and most importantly, belief. You've got to believe that you deserve more, not in a selfish, entitled way, but in a I'm not going to waste my potential kind of way. The danger with settling is that it's deceptive. It feels safe. It feels familiar. It feels like you're protecting yourself from disappointment. But the truth is, the longer you settle, the more you suffer. You wake up tired, not because you didn't sleep, but because your soul is restless. You procrastinate not because you're lazy, but because you don't feel aligned with your path. Your confidence shrinks. Your joy fades. Your vision blurs. That's the price of settling. And it's far more expensive than the price of pushing past your comfort zone. Demanding more from yourself doesn't mean you become perfect. It means you stop making peace with excuses. It means you stop letting comfort dictate your pace. It means you wake up and take accountability for every piece of your life, the wins and the losses. You stop saying, that's just how I am, and start asking, who do I want to become? Because you have the power to rewrite your story right now. But it starts with refusing to live a chapter that doesn't serve the bigger picture. When you demand more from yourself, you start moving differently. You stop wasting time. You protect your peace. You outgrow environments and conversations that no longer fit where you're headed. You stop tolerating mediocrities, your thoughts, your relationships. You walk with purpose. You grind with urgency. You begin to see challenges as invitations, not obstacles. Because you know every challenge is a chance to rise. And don't get it twisted. People might not understand the new you. They might say you've changed. And you should respond with, I was supposed to. Growth requires change. Leveling up demands it. You weren't meant to stay the same. If you're still thinking, speaking, and living like you did last year, you're not evolving. You're existing. And existing is not enough. You were made to thrive. But you'll never thrive in a mindset built for survival. So this is your reminder. No more waiting, no more excuses, no more settling. There is another level for you, but you have to go take it. No one's going to hand it to you. No one's going to knock on your door and say, hey, it's your time to shine. You got to nod. You got to nod. You got to kick that door down if you have to. You got to want it more than you want to be comfortable. Because the version of you that's capable of everything you dream about, they're waiting. On the other side of I refuse to settle. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you do regardless of how you feel. Motivation is a great spark, but discipline is the engine that keeps you moving when the fire dies down. The problem with relying on motivation is that it's temporary. It's emotional. It fades when life gets tough. Discipline, on the other hand, is built in the dark, in silence, when no one's watching. Discipline is the reason champions rise before the sun and grind after everyone else has gone to bed. Most people never level up their lives because they're addicted to feeling good before they take action. They wait until they feel ready. But winners don't wait for perfect conditions. They create momentum through consistency. They show up on the days they're tired. They show up on the days they're unmotivated. They show up when it's raining, when it's lonely, when it hurts. Because discipline doesn't ask how you feel, it asks if you're committed. If you want to break through to a new level, you have to become a person of discipline. You can't let your emotions run your life. Feelings lie. They tell you to sleep when you should rise. They tell you to quit when you're just getting started. They tell you to take the easy route when the hard road is where the growth is. Discipline says, I don't care how I feel. I'm doing what I said I would do. It's a decision, not a mood. And it's a mindset, not a feeling. Stand you hold yourself to, not just when things are smooth, but when everything in you wants to fall apart. Discipline builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you prove to yourself that you're serious. That's how confidence is built. Not from empty affirmation, but from consistent execution. You begin to respect yourself differently when you honor your own word. You start walking differently, talking differently, showing up with more power because you know you've earned it. You've trained your body and your mind to obey the mission, not the move. Think about a professional athlete. They don't train only when they feel like it. They train because it's who they are. It's their identity. Discipline must become a part of your identity too. You're not someone who tries to be consistent. You are consistent. You're not someone who hopes to be better. You do the work daily. You don't need to shout it. You don't need a crowd. Real discipline is quiet, it's humble, but it's powerful beyond measure. And over time, it separates those who wish from those who win. You're not always gonna feel inspired. There will be days when doubt creeps in, days when the goal feels too far away, days when quitting feels like the easier option. And in those moments, you'll learn who you really are. That's where discipline does its finest work. It steps in when your motivation has walked out. It reminds you why you started. It keeps you grounded in your values when your emotions want to drift. It gives you the edge when others give in. The truth is, success doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to the most disciplined. Talent might get you noticed, but discipline keeps you there. It's what allows you to stay focused in a world full of distraction. It's what turns a side hustle into a career. It's what transforms fitness goals into a lifestyle. It's what helps you write the book, build the business, become the version of yourself that you keep visualizing in your head. And don't expect it to be easy. You'll have to say no to things. You'll have to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term gain. You'll have to wake up earlier than your excuses and outlast the voice that says, not today. But every sacrifice you make, every temptation you resist, every time you keep a promise to yourself, you grow, you level up. People will wonder how you did it. They'll ask for the secret. And the truth is, the secret is boring. It's not glamorous. It's not magic. It's waking up and doing the work, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. It's the meal prep. It's the studying. It's the reps. It's the long nights and early mornings. It's consistency over convenience. It's showing up when nobody claps for you. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And discipline is the system. It's not punishment, it's empowerment. It's freedom. Because when you're disciplined, you don't have to rely on motivation. You don't need outside approval. You don't wait for opportunities. You create them. You don't negotiate with your greatness. You demand it. So take a look at your daily habits. What are you committed to? Not just when it's easy, but when it's inconvenient. What would your life look like if you applied discipline with the same energy you give to distractions? You already have what it takes, but you won't see the results until you build the discipline. Your environment is either pushing you forward or pulling you back. There's no neutral ground. Every voice you hear, every place you frequent, every habit you repeat is shaping you for better or worse. That's why upgrading your environment is one of the most powerful steps you can take if you truly want to level up your life. You can't grow in soil that wasn't meant for your kind of seed. You can't rise in spaces that keep you small. And the harsh truth is, many people stay stuck not because they lack talent, but because they refuse to leave toxic environments. Look around you. Who are you surrounded by? Do they speak life into you or doubt? Do they hold you accountable or enable your excuses? Do they celebrate your wins or secretly resent your growth? You have to be honest, because energy is contagious. If you're around people who constantly complain, gossip, settle, or stay stagnant, it's only a matter of time before you start reflecting those same traits, even if you never meant to. You become what you're exposed to. That's not just mindset talk. That's psychological truth. And if you're serious about leveling up, then you have to protect your environment like your future depends on it. Because it does. It's not just about people either. Your physical space plays a major role. Is your environment set up for success or distraction? Is your room, your workspace, your home filled with clutter, chaos, or constant interruptions? If your surroundings are messy, it affects your mind. If your phone is constantly buzzing, it robs your focus. If your schedule is packed with things that don't serve your mission, you'll never have time or mental clarity to do the deep work that moves you forward. You don't need to move to a new city to upgrade your environment. Sometimes it starts with simply removing what no longer fits the person you're becoming. And don't let loyalty trap you in mediocrity. Just because you've known someone for years doesn't mean they deserve access to your growth season. Some people were only meant to walk with you through a certain chapter, not the whole book. If someone constantly drains your energy, downplays your dreams, or laughs at your ambition, it's time to distance yourself. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to make a scene. You don't have to make a scene. But you do have to guard your space. You can't build a kingdom surrounded by people who think small. Upgrading your environment also means surrounding yourself with people who challenge you. People who are better than you in certain areas. People who won't let you slack. People who inspire you simply by the way they live. If you're always the smartest or hardest working in your circle isn't stretching you. You need to feel uncomfortable sometime. You need to be reminded of how much more is possible. Greatness is often caught, not just taught. And being around high-level individuals will push you to elevate your own standard. Technology matters too. Who do you follow online? What kind of content you consume? If your feed is full of distractions, gossip, negativity, or comparison, it's quietly shaping how you see yourself in the world. Unfollow anything that doesn't align with your purpose. Follow people who pour into you. Listen to voices that build, not break. You can't expect to walk in purpose when your attention is constantly pulled in 100 directions. You have to curate your digital environment the same way you curate your physical one, with intentionality and discipline. Music, books, podcasts, videos, they're all part of your environment. Start being selective. Feed your mind like your future depends on it. Read books that challenge your thinking. Watch content that fires up your hustle. Listen to stories of people who came from nothing and built something powerful. Because if they did it, so can you. Fuel your focus with things that lift your mindset, not just entertain your boredom. Sometimes the upgrade you need most is internal. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your self-talk, they're all part of your environment too. You can't surround yourself with doubt and expect confidence to grow. You can't entertain negative thoughts all day and expect positive outcomes. You have to create mental space for your dreams to live. That means being conscious of what you think, say, and focus on. It means replacing I can't with the how can with the how can I. It means speaking to yourself like someone you believe in, not someone you've given up on. Leveling up your life isn't just about doing more, it's about becoming more. And that transformation often starts with where you are and who you're with. You need a space that supports your standards, not sabotages them. You need people who remind you of your potential, not your past. You need routines that move you closer to your goals, not distractions that delay them. If you want a new outcome, you need a new atmosphere. Growth isn't something that happens by accident, something you chase down with relentless intent. You have to make the decision to grow. You have to choose to outgrow the version of yourself that's comfortable, predictable, and stuck in old habits. Personal development doesn't come when it's convenient. It doesn't show up when life is smooth. It shows up when you decide that who you were yesterday is no longer enough for where you're going. And that's a hard pill to swallow, because growth starts with letting go of excuses, of ego, of anything that's been keeping you small. Every level of your life will demand a new version of you. And that version can't be downloaded or wished into existence. It has to be built, moment by moment, choice by choice. It requires sacrifice. It demands discipline. And most of all, it requires self-awareness. You can't grow if you refuse to look in the mirror and ask the tough questions. What's holding me back? What habits are wasting my time? What lies am I telling myself? Most people don't grow because they don't want to confront their truth. But until you face it, you keep repeating cycles that kill your progress. Personal development is not just about reading books or watching motivational videos. Those things are tools. They can inspire you, open your mind. But real development happens when you apply what you learn. It's in the follow through. It's in the moments when you don't feel like working out, but you go anyway. When you want to react out of emotion, but you choose discipline. When you're tempted to quit, but instead you lean into the pain and push forward. Growth lives in those decisions. That's where transformation happens. You can't grow in a comfort zone. That's the plain truth. Growth feels like resistance. It feels like struggle. It feels like fear. But those feelings aren't there to stop you. They're signals that you're moving in the right direction. Comfort is where dreams go to die. If you want to become more, you have to stretch. You have to seek out the unfamiliar. You have to get used to being uncomfortable, because that's where the lessons are. The more you lean into that discomfort, the stronger, wiser, and more focused you become. The real test of personal growth is how you respond to adversity. When life hits, do you crumble or do you rise? Do you blame or do you adjust? Because life will hit, that's a guarantee. And when it does, you'll find out real quick whether you've been growing or just coasting. Personal development strengthens your mindset so that no matter what comes your way, you don't fold, you adapt, you pivot, you learn. That's the difference between people who level up and people who get left behind. The ones who grow through it. And growth isn't linear. It's not a straight line upward. Sometimes you'll take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Sometimes you'll feel like nothing is changing. You'll stay committed, you're evolving even when you can't see it. Just like seeds grow underground before they ever break through the surface, your personal development is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. You've got to trust the process. Keep showing up. Keep working on your habits. Keep feeding your mind. Keep speaking life. That consistency compounds. Also, don't get caught in the comparison trap. Your growth won't look like anyone else's. Someone else might be ahead in one area, but behind in another. You're not running their race, you're running yours. And the only person you should be competing with is the version of you from yesterday. If you're better today, even just by 1%, that's growth. If your thinking is sharper, if your reactions are calmer, if your decisions are more aligned with your goals, that's growth. It's not always loud. It's not always dramatic, but it's always intentional. Another key part of personal growth is forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. You're going to mess up. You're going to fall short. You're going to make choices you regret, but growth requires grace. You have to forgive your past self so you can become your future self. You can't hold on to guilt and expect to grow in purpose. Learn from the past, yes, but don't live there. Take the lesson, leave the weight. Your mind is your greatest weapon, and personal development is how you sharpen it. Every day is a chance to grow stronger, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Every book you read, every journal entry you write, every hard decision you make with discipline adds another brick to the foundation you're building. And before you know it, you look back and realize you're not even the same person anymore. You've grown, you've leveled up, not because it was easy, but because you chose to grow when it was hard. And that's what separates people who change their life from people who only talk about it. They stop waiting, they stop blaming, they stop looking for shortcuts. Greatness doesn't happen by accident. It's built, forged, and earned through relentless action. You can have all the dreams in the world, all the vision boards, all the affirmations, but without execution, they mean nothing. Execution is the bridge between imagination and reality. It's what separates the talkers from the doers, the successful from the stuck, the fulfilled from the frustrated. You can't level up your life by just thinking about it. You have to do something about it, and you have to do it consistently. People don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they hesitate. They overthink. They wait for perfect conditions, for the right time, for more clarity. But clarity comes from movement, not from standing still. Action creates momentum. Even small steps matter. Even messy steps count. The truth is, no one ever feels 100% ready, but the people who win are the ones who act anyway. They don't let fear stop them. They feel it, face it, and move through it. Action is the antidote to fear. Every time you move, fear loses its grip on you. Execution requires focus. You can't execute if your attention is scattered. You have to know what matters and eliminate what doesn't. You have to say no to distractions, even if they're fun. You have to say no to comfort, even if it feels good. You have to say no to things that drain you, even if they've been part of your life for a long time. Execution means aligning your time, energy, and habits with your goals, not just occasionally, but daily. It's the discipline of showing up for your vision when no one's clapping and no one's watching. There's power in doing what you said you would do, especially when you don't feel like doing it. That's where self-respect is built. That's where identity is reshaped. Every time you follow through, even when it's inconvenient, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who takes action. That's how momentum is built. That's how confidence grows. Not from hype, but from habit. The most confident people aren't always the loudest. They're the ones who trust themselves because they've done the work behind closed doors. You can have the best ideas in the world, but if you don't act on them, someone else will. Ideas are cheap. Execution is rare. And that's what makes it powerful. Most people never execute because they want guarantees. They want to know it'll work before they start. But greatness doesn't work like that. You have to start before you're ready. You have to build while you're walking. You have to risk failure, not once, but over and over. Because execution is a mindset. It's about trusting the process, not the outcome. Execution is also about doing the boring stuff. Everyone wants the glory, but few want the grind. But it's the grind that makes the difference. Waking up early, repeating the fundamentals, staying consistent, making the call, sending the email, hitting the reps, writing the words, studying the details. Those aren't glamorous, but they are what build empire. You don't rise to the level of your ambition. You fall to the level of your execution. And if your habits don't match your goals, you'll never reach them. Take massive action, but take aligned action. Busy doesn't always mean effective. Don't just run in circles, run with intention. Know your why. Set your targets. Break them down into daily steps. Then attack those steps like your life depends on it, because in a way it does. Your future self is waiting on you to move. Your breakthrough is waiting on your obedience to the process. Your potential is waiting on your persistence. Don't wait to feel motivated. Motivation is a move. Execution is a choice. That choice has to be made over and over again. On the days you're tired, the other days you're doubting. On the days it doesn't seem to matter, because every action adds up. Every step compounds. And eventually what felt like a grind becomes second nature. What once felt impossible becomes your new normal. But none of that happens if you don't start. Don't let perfectionism paralyze you. You don't need a flawless plan. You need willingness to act, learn, and adjust. You'll fail, you'll stumble, you'll make mistakes. That's part of it. But the more you execute, the more you evolve. Mistakes become lessons. Lessons become wisdom. Wisdom becomes power. That power turns into progress. Real, tangible progress. In progress feels good. It gives you energy. It builds belief. The more you see yourself moving forward, the harder it is to go back. That's why execution is everything. It transforms your vision from fantasy to reality. It's not about being the smartest, the fastest, or the most gifted. It's about being relentless. It's about being the one who keeps showing up, the one who refuses to quit, the one who gets up, grinds, and executes no matter what. You can't wait on anyone to give you permission. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to do the work for you.